Housing Development Progress. Number one and the best. Housing Development Progress. Number one. Number one. Housing Development Progress. Number one and the best. Housing Development Progress. Number one. Housing Development Progress. In Nigeria. Housing Development Progress. In Africa. Housing Development Program and the globe. Number one, Housing Development Program.
A world in which only a few can afford housing is not sustainable. Everyone deserves a safe place to live. It can transform the quality of life of individuals and families. Today, however, most cities around the world are facing major challenges in providing safe and adequate housing for their people, especially cities that are growing rapidly and where the affordable housing options are limited. Even those who earn steady wages are unable to buy or rent affordable housing. Nigerians have had to live with the promises of housing for all by the year 2000, 2010, 2015 and even 2020, and the dates will continue to change if an enabling environment for affordable housing are not developed and if the right policies and political will are not in place to make it happen. Welcome to another informative episode of Housing Development, a program focused on the provision of adequate, accessible and affordable housing for Nigerians. As always, I am Flora Ani, your housing diva. Let's see the news making rounds in the sector. I will be back shortly.
In a bid to encourage skills development, organizers of the Construction Artisans Awards held her 4th annual event in Abuja to recognize artisans who have done remarkably well in their field of endeavors. With the theme Building Our Youth, Securing the Future, the event focused on awarding 4 major construction trade categories: masonry, carpentry, plumbing installation, and electrical installation. While speaking, the DG of System Construction Skills Training and convener of the Construction Artisans Awards (CAA), Anthony Aboki Okwa, said the importance of skills cannot be overemphasized, adding that the educational system needs to be reorganized to encourage more skills development in their curriculum. Chairman, TET Fund, Architect Sani Echano, also added that it is important to equip young people with the right skills, as this would help build the country for the better, earn a living for themselves, and help grow the economy. Some of the awardees include Onu Christopher, who won the first position in Masonry category, and Yakubu Patience Daniel won the best in electrical installation, amongst others. Council of Registered Builders of Nigeria (CORBON) has expressed delight over acceptance by the management of BUA Group to reduce cement price by over 35% following calls made by the council recently. This was disclosed in a statement released by the council chairman Builder Samson Ame Opaloa. According to Opaloa, it is a welcome development, while commending the patriotism of the management of BUA Group led by Alhaji Abdul Samad Rabiu. The council also challenges construction companies and professionals in the built environment to adopt finding of extensive research already conducted towards commercialization and use of cement replacement items, Pazolana, to further bring about reduction in building cost and improve accessibility to the teeming populace. Real Estate Development Association of Nigeria (REDAN) has announced that a 2-day conference on sustainable real estate projects will take place on the 10th and 11th of October 2023 at Rockview Royal in Abuja. The theme of the conference is Enhancing Investment and Finance Opportunities for Sustainable Real Estate Projects. The event is expected to be declared open by the Honorable Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Architect Ahmed Musa Dangiwa. The statement further revealed that the event is designed for all REDAN members. non-REDAN members who are in the real estate sector, and the general public who are interested in developing themselves in the real estate sector. REDAN is an umbrella body for licensed and professional real estate developers in Nigeria, recognized by the government and approved by the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, FMBN.
For more housing news, do well to visit www.africanhousingnews.com. As Nigerians recently celebrate the 63rd independence anniversary, what is the hope for the common man to own a home? What has been the progress of home ownership of Nigerians? Good, fair, or bad? Now these Nigerians have this to say.
What I feel the government should do for the masses is that the government should please help the masses in terms of housing, because there are lots of houses that they are expensive, and due to people's budget, like they can't even afford the kind of houses that they really want to live in, you know. But if the government can actually help in that aspect, like helping the people to get like a good accommodation, at least we will really appreciate.
Government is supposed to make sure that cost of living in Nigeria will be less. Do you understand me? We have enough land, we have enough estate, we have enough housing units. Even people are still building more. Do you understand me? People that are capable to buy, they can buy. But if people that doesn't have money to buy in estate, that buy in village or build in village, they should sympathy and have sympathy and leave it for them. They will make sure that the mass housing unit, the price is lower. That in the sense that even though they build it, let them remove their eyes, stop collecting 2 years for 3 million, 5 million. Don't understand me? They can be collecting a weekly or a day. Somebody can be paying a day.
From the whole Abuja, east, west, north and east of Abuja, there are empty houses lived by rats. Then if government could meet all those developers, then shortchange the rate, then people can be renting it. If you go to this Wike came the other time, he said all those rural villages, demolition. Why not put up those people? Remove the rent low, but reduce the rent and put the people to live those places. I think that would be the action of the government.
In terms of housing, we are having a lot of issues. Number one, in terms of rent. Number two, in terms of transport fare. And you see how they removed the fuel subsidy. You know, it will not be an easy for a poor Nigerian to survive this season, especially in the city of Abuja, where you go and pay rent to stay self. It's not a nice apartment. Many of us, if you check where we are staying, it's just for you to manage and survive. They can create an estate development agency for the federal government that will give an easy, let me say, an easy rent or a cheaper rent than individuals.
Affordable, accessible, and livable accommodation is very paramount for the well-being of low-income Nigerians. As we celebrate 63rd independence anniversary, let's look for practical solutions to home ownership issues of low-income Nigerians.
We don't have road, and you see at times if it is raining, you will see a lot of people will go by the roadside. They'll be thrown dead on the main road. We also doesn't have toilet. You see a toilet, you still have to 30 tenants, they are using one. You can't leave your door open, go and buy something. Before you will know, Babambola will enter. By the time you will take them to police station, 1 hour is too much, the police people will release them. In fact, we don't know what is happening.
This is the situation with many citizens in not just Nigeria. Are we ready for this conversation? What is the plight of an average Nigerian citizen in regards to housing? Housing is a fundamental human right, and these issues must be addressed.
It's good news. Are you a stakeholder in the built environment, or you are looking for an authentic, credible source for housing and construction news in Africa? You now have an opportunity. Africa International Housing Show has now created a unique opportunity for you by establishing a full-fledged housing television, the first of its kind in Africa. You can now access information on home ownership, rental, building materials, finance, real estate, and insurance, among others, all on Housing TV Africa, channel 149 on StarTimes.
Welcome back. You're watching Housing Development. 63 years of housing development in Nigeria. Now let's take a drive down memory lane. Since Nigeria's independence in 1960, the nation's housing sector, like most critical sectors of the country's economy, has experienced some twists and turns. It is a fact that housing has been in short supply. This report coming up seeks to give an overview of the Nigerian housing sector from 1960 till date. Have a look.
Basic knowledge shows that one of the major needs of human is shelter. In Nigeria, over 80% of our population are living in slums, otherwise known as unplanned settlements, with limited access to pipe-borne water and basic social amenities. While those in the urban centers are living in rented accommodation that takes away almost 40% of their income, with no adequate facilities for water or electricity.
The situation of housing is that we take it the way it comes on that play and believe the government will do more. Do better something at least to help the masses.
The challenges faced by Nigerians on housing are countless, from high rent fees to low-quality housing and absence of accessible roads. But none of these challenges can be compared to affordability.
If government can build an affordable house schemes where this left privilege will be able to afford. Imagine in FCT, people can no longer see a room for 500,000 naira. A room is going 1.5. The masses has been denied their rights in respect to housing schemes.
As Nigeria marks her 63rd anniversary since her freedom from colonial rule, one major area that has been a center of concern is the provision of affordable housing. How has the housing sector fared in the last 63 years? Arguably, Nigeria started out well after independence with forward-looking national development plans that had ambitious housing development components. This was the period of low-cost housing by the then President Shehu Shagari at the federal level and Lateef Jakonde in Lagos. With a growing population of 200 million and high urbanization growth rate estimated at 4 to 5% per annum, housing stock in Nigeria is said to be between 12 million and 15 million units, while an unconfirmed record shows that about 25 million households with 6 members each don't have homes of their own. According to reports, out of 200 million Nigerians, only 8 million people qualify for the luxury property market, adding that while there is more than enough for the latter, hardly any thought is spared for the remaining 192 million citizens. Today, the accurate data for Nigeria's housing deficit is still a mirage. This unknown deficit data, according to experts, requires building over 700,000 housing units yearly for the next 20 years and spending about 56 trillion naira to close, meaning that to effectively house its citizens, Nigeria needs to spend its annual budgets for over 5 years on housing development alone. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in his Renewed Hope Action Plan, has outlined ambitious milestones that he hopes to implement to change the narrative and unlock potential of the housing sector to boost economic development, create jobs, foster inclusive growth, and ensure access to affordable and decent housing for all. This includes notably the utilization of 20% of the cash reserve fund in CBN, set aside to promote long-term 20 to 30-year mortgages and affordable consumer credits, reviewing the PENCOM regulations to allow increased investment of pension funds in the mortgage asset class, working with state governments to provide credits and incentives to developers of affordable housing, amongst others. To drive the vision, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR appointed architect Ahmed Musa Dangewa as the Minister for Housing and Urban Development. Architect Dangewa brings to the Tinubu cabinet over 30 years of experience in the real estate, mortgage financing, and housing development that span private and public sectors as well as academia.
Along with the vision of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GSFR, I promise to take bold initiatives. We should champion strategic housing reforms and break systemic barriers to housing and urban development. We will work closely with the National Assembly to review all the relevant laws and streamline land and housing administration and create a conducive environment for investment in the housing sector. For me, I believe that housing is not just about brick and mortar. It is also about creating communities, building families, and ensuring that every Nigerian has a place they can call home. I'm here to work with you towards making that possible.
These reforms, if successfully implemented, will no doubt increase liquidity in the housing market and also create the enabling environment necessary for much-needed enhanced private sector participation. Our hope is that as we celebrate Nigeria at 63, housing will be given its rightful place in the order of priorities at the top, or at least close to the top. Happy Independence Day, Nigeria.
We must not relent in our effort in making housing sector one that will contribute immensely to the nation's GDP as we build more low-cost, affordable houses for Nigerians. What has been the effect of democracy on housing in Nigeria from 1999 till date? Let's watch this report that speaks of Nigerians' democracy and housing development.
Nigeria is perhaps the fastest urbanizing country in African continent. One of the most important challenges facing the country is the provision of affordable housing. This report will take a look at housing development in Nigeria from the democratic dispensation 1999 till date. The Obasanjo government was marked by the establishment of the Federal Ministry of Land, Housing and Urban Development and the proposal of multiple housing reforms, including the restructuring of the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria. These policies also became an offshoot of professional bodies like the Real Estate Developers Association of Nigeria, REDAN, and the Building Materials Producers Association of Nigeria, BUMPAN. During this period, the Federal Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development was established from the then Federal Ministry of Works and Housing. The period between 2004 policy focus was on the private sector to serve as the main catalyst for housing delivery in Nigeria, while the government concentrates on the provision of basic infrastructure and housing development. Issues in the Land Use Act were equally given attention for review, as well as the financial structures such as the FMBN and provision of incentives to developers in form of tax holidays for 5 years. The Nigerian housing policy in 2006 was as a result of earlier policies and programs to adequately resolve the backlogs of housing problems in the country. This policy came up with some transitionary strategies in which government made significant efforts in partial disengagement into housing provision and encouraged privately developed housing. Under the policy adjustments, such as the almatization period, which was 25 years under the previous policy, was jacked up to 30 years interest on NHF loans to PMIs was scaled down from 5% to 4%, while the lending rate contributors is reduced to 6% from previous 9%. In 2007 to 2010, during Umar Musa Yar'Adua's administration, while there were no grandiose ambitions about housing, one of the points in his famous 7-point agenda was land reforms. While hundreds of billions of dollars have been lost through unused government-owned land assets, changes in the land laws and the emergence of land reforms is a post-optimized Nigeria's growth through the release of land for mass housing, commercialized farming, and other large-scale businesses by the private sector. Final results is supposed to assure improvements and boosts to the production and wealth creation initiatives. Unfortunately, he didn't live long enough to see this through. On 18th April 2009, when the National Technical Working Committee under the Housing Thematic Area of the Vision 2020 was inaugurated, they were asked to make recommendations towards the contribution of housing towards the Vision 2020 goal of the federal government. Part of the major vision was to make the housing sector part of the top 3 major contributors to the nation's economy by adding 10 million affordable homes to the national housing stock by the year 2020. It was suggested that for Nigeria to meet up with its housing needs by the year 2020, the federal government must provide the legal and regulatory environment that would attract public-private partnership (PPP). In 2012, Goodluck Jonathan announces that the federal government was committed to revolutionizing the housing sector by translating the National Housing Policy and National Urban Development Policy into a roadmap for housing development in the country. In line with this, NMRC was established for mortgage refinancing with the support of World Bank. The Buhari-led administration introduced new initiatives to tackle housing delivery, like the Family Homes Funds and National Housing Program, with construction ongoing in about 34 states. The Federal Integrated Staff Housing in 2016 and My Own Home Scheme in 2017. With the new administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, it is, however, important to note that the government needs to focus on other components of large-scale housing developments like land, finance, infrastructure, building materials, and labor in order to completely achieve delivery of affordable housing in Nigeria.
Welcome back. You're watching Housing Development. On 2nd October every year, there is a global observance of World Habitat Day. To mark the day, the Association of Housing Corporation of Nigeria had a State of Nations Housing Address. This report will give more details.
Nigeria joins the rest of the world to mark this year's World Habitat Day, which is usually celebrated every 2nd of October, to look at the housing challenges facing humanity and provide solutions to make the world a better place to live in. The Association of Housing Corporation of Nigeria, in its State of the Nation's Housing Address, with the theme Resilient Urban Economies, Cities as Drivers of Growth and Recovery, presented by its President and Chairman of Council, Dr. Victor Onikuga, illustrate the housing challenges the country is currently faced with, looking at where we are now, where we want to be, and how to get there. Dr. Victor, in his address, said the nation has not fared well, particularly in the last administration, the promises made by government to provide housing for citizens were not met, thereby widening the housing deficiency gap.
The 8 years of the last administration, which lapsed in May this year, witnessed abysmal performance in housing provision. Out of the 1 million housing needs the administration promised to deliver annually at inception, only 8,938 housing units, comprising of 6,068 units in 35 states and 2,870 units in the Federal Capital Territory, were delivered in 8 years, according to the scorecard presented by the former minister before handing over power to this new administration.
He further stated that government at all levels must renew its commitments to social housing schemes and stop direct involvement in the provision of these houses, but do so through established housing cooperatives.
If we must adopt and run with the theme of this year's World Habitat Day, that is resilient urban economies, cities as drivers of growth and recovery, we must wake up from our slumber and empower state housing corporations to get this job done for us. Until deliberate attempt is made to address housing challenges of low and medium income groups, housing deficit gap will continue to be on the increase.
Dr. Vito encouraged Nigerians to patronize locally manufactured building materials as they are trusted and tested, instead of the complete dependence on foreign building materials.
As Nigeria celebrates her 63rd independence anniversary, there is a need to act expeditiously to make housing affordable to all. On that note, I say thanks for watching Housing Development. Happy 63rd independence anniversary, Nigeria. We are one nation, bound in freedom, peace, and unity. And together we can surmount these challenges facing us as a nation. I remain Flora Ani, your housing diva. God bless Nigeria.